So, Shannon, is Ben Simmons fixable at this point?
Skip, I just think the thing is he's never going to be what we originally thought he would be. A 6'10" Magic Johnson, LeBron-type basketball player. I think we need to adjust our expectations of him. He's too flawed of an offensive player to be historically or transcendently great. We've never seen an offensive player this flawed and him be historically great, Skip. So maybe we just change our expectations, what the ceiling is for him, and he'll be fine. You know, Skip, my grandfather and grandmother was religious, not every other word come out their mouth with Jesus, God, this, that. But my grandfather used to say, boy, never mistake habit for hard work. And they spoke to us in parables like that because I guess in the Bible, they speak to you a lot of parables. And you're supposed to figure that out, Skip. You and I both go to the gym a lot. We've seen people that come to the gym, Skip, 5, 6, 7 years, 5, 6 days a week, and they never change. Man, I'll be working out.
Because they mostly talk.
Because what they're doing is they're mistaking habit for hard work. Yep. Because they go to the gym 5 days a week, they think they're working hard. Ben Simmons think because he goes to the gym every single day, he working hard.
Well, if he is going to the gym every single day.
Okay, there lies another problem, Skip. How about this here? And I was thinking, Skip, there was nothing on last night. I ended up watching Kevin Hart's movie Fatherhood, and I was just thinking to myself, I said, Ben Simmons. Who could Ben Simmons be? Because he's not going to be Magic. He's not going to be LeBron. What if he was a Draymond Green type player? Could he be that, Skip? Initiate the offense, get you some rebounds. He can play defense. He can assist the basketball. Just not that offensive threat that when we think Magic, because Skip, Magic did average, was a 19 and 11 guy.
Yep.
Could Ben Simmons be a Draymond? And this is no knock on Draymond because I think Draymond's going to the Hall of Fame. A Defensive Player of the Year, All NBA Defensive Player, 3 championships out of 4. So I think Draymond's a hell of a player, and that's not a knock if Ben Simmons can become that. Skip, he's just not going to be Magic. He's not going to be LeBron. So I think we need to scale back our expectations. But I also think Doc is like, you know what, man, I probably killed some of that trade value I had. That when I said, Skip, I don't know if he can be late in the ball. Because think about this, Skip. Let's put it in football terms. Imagine you got a quarterback and he becomes unplayable late in the ball game. What good is he? How do you say a guy is LeBron Magic if I can't play him late in ball game in crunch time? I got to get him off the court. Because he's not going to take a jump shot, and he's afraid to get fouled. Well, he's not going to take. He's afraid of shooting, and he's afraid of going to the free throw line. Yep. So he becomes unplayable. Skip, I don't know. Fix to what extent? Is it something that we can repair and it's going to be good long term, or is just a quick fix until we get a long term solution, which is another player in here to replace Ben Simmons? I believe that's the best thing for both sides, Skip. Because we can go back and talk about, well, Ben, you remember he had 42 against Rudy Gobert, the Defensive Player of the Year? Yes. But also what was absent in that game? Joel Embiid. And he was in attack mode. So if he's going to attack and lay the ball up, Skip, in the playoffs, he shot one shot outside of the paint. And it was at the end of the quarter, 3 shot. Let that sink in, Skip. The man played 11 games, and he took one shot. Skip, I don't know to the extent how fixable is. What is your definition of fixable? That is the question that the Sixers are going to have to ask themselves. What is our definition of fixable?
Okay. I hear everything you just said. I heard everything you said yesterday. I heard a whole lot of things that got said throughout the media yesterday about it's time to get rid of Ben Simmons. Right. You were the first to market with it's time to trade Ben Simmons. Okay, so I'm going to ask this hypothetical question.
Okay.
What if I told you there was this player who was 24 years of age, and he's 6'11", 240 pounds, and he won Rookie of the Year, and then he made 3 straight All-Star teams, and he made 2 straight first-team all-defenses.
That's a pretty good player.
That's a pretty good player. And what if I told you, as you just mentioned, that said player, not that long ago, just back on February 15th, got so angry over all the talk about how Rudy Gobert was the runaway defensive player of the year that he took it upon himself to go to Utah without his co-star. And at Utah, guarded mostly by Rudy Gobert, this player that we're talking about scored 42 points and hit 12 out of 13 free throws because he was angry about the runaway talk that he's going to walk away with Defensive Player of the Year, which he ultimately did.
Correct.
What if I told you that player has 7 games in his fairly brief NBA career of 30-plus points? What if I told you he has 73 games in his career of 20-plus points and that he has 35 triple-doubles already in a fairly brief NBA career? And what if I told you that player helped lead his team to the best record in the East, to a first-round playoff win, and all the way to the second round in which his team was in a fairly commanding 2-1 lead and then had leads in Game 4 of 18 points and in Game 5 of 26 points?
Correct.
That player is Ben Simmons. And that player is on the trading block, which is unfathomable to me because all of the above screams eminently fixable. What happened against Washington, thanks to Scotty Brooks, was Scott Brooks finally said, you know what, we got to do it. We got to resort to let's hack a Ben.
Yep.
And for some reason, this 24-year-old who can be very tough-minded, I'll throw in one other game that sticks in my memory, and that was back on April 18th of 2019. Remember when Jared Dudley said if you can just slow him down and get him in the half court, he's average in the half court, said Jared Dudley.
Yes, he did.
And at the shoot-around that day, the response from one Ben Simmons was, it's coming from Jared Dudley, come on, right? And he proceeded that night to terrorize those Brooklyn Nets. Obviously, they weren't the KD, Kyrie.
But think about it again, Skip.
James
what was
Harden.
absent?
Okay.
Joel Embiid.
Okay, but he terrorized them for 31, 4, and 9 assists. He just took the game over offensively in the half court and on the break. And obviously, he's better on the break because once you get that freight train at 6'11", 240 going downhill, it's hard to keep him from the rim because he's like LeBron. He's ambidextrous. He can do it both ways. And he can get up and soar over you on the break.
But, Skip, Jared Dudley wasn't wrong. Jared Dudley said, we just got to get him in the half court.
I'm sure somewhere as we speak, Jared Dudley is chuckling, right? Because he's saying, I tried to tell you, right? But what happened to this young, still very young man against Washington? He got snake bitten. And I'm shocked because he's shown flashes of being so tough-minded. When he gets mad, he gets good mad. He gets unstoppable mad, but somehow he didn't get mad at Scott Brooks. He got gotten. He shrank. He let the demons take his psyche over. And you know and I know what happens when you let them get in there, you're cooked. Where he got so afraid he didn't even want to try to shoot the free throws anymore because all he could do is muster up about 30%, 35% of them. And it got so bad, obviously, against Atlanta that he did not want to shoot the basketball in the fourth quarter at all. So he just says, don't even, just X me out of the offense. I don't want the basketball because they're gonna hack me and I'm gonna have to go shoot these free throws.
So now Skip, you're playing 4-on-5.
Okay, I got it. And they almost pulled it off anyway because it went to the wire in Game 7 because he's such a great defender. I don't throw that word around loosely, but he is a great defender. He is so long and strong and agile for 6'11". He moves like a two-guard. He stayed in front of Trae Young fairly well. Now, again, he got a lot of help. They would blitz and they would double. But for the most part, he's just so long that he made it really hard on Trae Young. And when Trae Young would try a step back, it's hard to step back on him because he's just too long. And the long arm of the law was getting in Trae Young's face.
He blocked a couple of them.
And Trae Young shot 32% from three because he's trying to heave it up over a 6'11" guy for the most part. And it really helped them on that end of the floor stay in the series because without his defense on Trae Young, if you let Trae just get loose, well, you know and I know, they might have gotten run off the court before the Game 7.
But let me ask you a question, Skip. He averaged 9 points a game, 6 and 6. What if he just gives you what he gave you in the regular season? He gave you 14, 7 and 7. You win this series, Skip.
Okay, so now we get back to, is it fixable? Well, this is not physical. This is mental to me. So,
which is harder.
Okay.
Skip, you know that's harder,
okay,
Skip.
But when I look at body of work, when I look at what he's already, I'm not talking about some college kid that I'm trying to project into the NBA.
Right.
I'm talking about a rookie of the year and a 3-time All-Star and 2-time first team All-Defense. First team.
Right.
We're talking about a candidate for Defensive Player of the Year, at least. And because of that, now we get into sports psychology or psychiatry.
Yeah.
To me, that's the answer. And Doc was a little circumspect about without going into detail. Well, I think the detail is they need to get him some help.
Right.
Seriously.
Right.
Where you work through this in the offseason. And again, a great shot doctor would help, like Chip England. He's a Spurs assistant, but he's fixed a lot of shots. Go ask Chip England what he did for Kawhi Leonard, because Kawhi Leonard came in this league without a shot.
Right.
And now he's got a pretty deadly mid-range jump shot because he got taught it. And he was willing to put in the work in the gym, like real work. And Doc was saying it has to be the right work. Well, surely they have enough money in Philadelphia that Josh Harris, the owner, can say, hey, let's go get that guy, because you need a doctor, a shot doctor, and you need a real doctor.
Skip, you follow baseball. You're a baseball guy. You cover the game.
Unfortunately, I followed a game last night involving my Vanderbilt Commodores. Way to go, hang in there. But
Leiter's son was unbelievable.
Huh? He was unbelievable, except for one pitch to Terrell Tatum, who just jacked it about 450 feet, and it was 1-0. That was it.
Was it physical or mental with Steve Sachs that he couldn't throw the ball from me to you?
Obviously, completely, utterly psychological.
Chuck Knobloch.
The same deal. Steve Blass, before your time, a pitcher for the Pirates. He went from World Series hero to I can't throw a strike. I don't know why.
David Duval.
Same issue.
Engel.
We can go.
Rick Ankiel. Skip, remember
There's another one. Couldn't throw. Couldn't even. He couldn't even hit the catcher.
Yes.
He was throwing it over the catcher's head consistently.
So it wasn't physical with those guys. It got between his ears. And you say, Skip, we've gone in for the last 5 offseasons saying Ben Simmons going to get in the gym, he's going to work on that jump shot, and he's going to come back new and improved. And every year we've come back, if you're a Philadelphia fan or you're rooting for Ben Simmons, we've come back and he's been disappointed.
But on February 15th, about 4 months ago, he made 12 out of 13 free throws at Utah.
Yes.
Because he was angry and he said, watch this.
And this
you can't tell me he doesn't have the capability, right?
Yes.
Okay.
Skip, if you think about it, he made 12 free throws in 7 games out of like 80 attempts. So that's where it's gone.
Okay, but you can fix that if you get the right person at the right time with the right guy. And again, I like him when I watch him. And by the way, I thought it was huge. He came to the post-game interview. Like a lot of guys would shrink from that. They'd say, there's no way. And he owned it. He'd have made a bad situation worse by running out on his obligation to speak to the media after the game. But he showed, right?
He showed up.
And he faced up, didn't he? And he said, I just wasn't there on offense. Well, I don't know how much you're right.
Skip, I ain't trying to hear that now.
Okay. Okay, but it shows you he's owning the problem to the point that is he ready to own it through the whole offseason?
Okay, Skip, you say he's fixable. Is he fixable to the point he'll be what you thought he would be? Magic LeBron type.
Well, I never said that.
But Skip, that was it. Skip, I mean, think about what he is. He's 6'10". Magic 6'9".
They list him at 11.
6'11".
Right.
So and he handled the point. So natural, the comparison is Magic, LeBron, because those are the tall guys. A Penny Hardaway is
okay, but
tall.
I never. He's a very good passer, but he's not LeBron's league LeBron is gifted beyond. Like, he's still the best passer in basketball, and I don't see that creativity from Ben.
And think about this, Skip. Both of the guys that we're talking about, Magic and LeBron, came in, didn't have a great jump shot, but they worked their tails off, and it improved.
I would agree.
Skip,
especially Magic, he didn't have a shot at all.
He had a little push. It is there. He developed a little push shot.
He did. But I'm saying when he came in, LeBron had something when he came in.
But what was the one thing that those two guys had that Ben doesn't have? They had courage. They were unafraid to shoot the shot.
Okay.
He's gotten afraid to shoot the shot, Skip. So how do I improve you? Skip, it's kind of hard to be Skip, it's kind of hard to be a veterinarian if you're afraid of animals. It's kind of hard to be a doctor if you're afraid of blood.
Yeah. I'll give you this on LeBron, because I'll never forget Greg Popovich standing during 2013 finals, waving at Danny Green. Get off it.
Right.
So it's almost the equivalent of hack a Ben.
Right.
It's saying, just let him shoot. Just
Yes.
let him shoot those. Don't just play him to drive.
Right.
Because I know for a fact, because I was plugged into those teams, their golden rule was no dunks. Because especially on the road, and when they played them in 07, obviously with at Cleveland, and then here we go again with the Heat. But the golden rule was, especially when you're on his home court, don't let him get to the rim, because if he dunks it, it just ignites the building and the roof flies off.
I give you a prime example, Skip. Look at Giannis.
Okay.
Giannis is not afraid to shoot. Hell, we think Giannis should stop shooting so much from the three-point line and outside, Skip, and get to the basket. He's improving, but he's unafraid to shoot. Until Ben Simmons.
There are actually a lot of similarities between Giannis and Ben Simmons, a whole lot. And I think in pure height, I think they're about the same height, except Giannis is longer and probably stronger.
Yeah, I think Giannis is probably more athletic also than Ben.
I'll buy that.
But that's the thing, Skip. I think the thing is that we're going to have to readjust our ceiling of what we think Ben Simmons can be. I think he's going to be more in line with a Draymond. I believe he can be a Draymond Green. And you mentioned the big games that he's had, the 31 points in the playoff game, the 42 points. What was absent? Joel Embiid. Well, if Joel Embiid is on the block, you can't have Ben Simmons on the block. Joel Embiid needs somebody that can play outside, that can space. So when they double down on him, he kicked the ball out. If he kicks the ball out to Ben Simmons, what's Ben Simmons going to do? Come kick it right back down to him. They double him again, he kicks it back out to Ben. What's Ben going to do? Throw it around the block?
Okay, so for me, I get everything you're saying, but my step back perspective is the little alarm bell is ringing in the back of my mind about, wait a second, we're talking about one of the best young assets you could have in basketball, and everybody's saying, get him out of here. Really? Get this?
Yeah.
This is a huge talent that he has. And he's got a nice stroke, left-handed. The stroke from the free throw line is not broken. Giannis is crazy, and Giannis is dribbling. He's taking 12 seconds at a time.
Well, he's practicing shooting before he even gets the ball.
I get it, and I don't know why the refs even let him. It's time to go. Let's just give him the basketball. Don't wait until he rehearses a couple.
And then I watched James Harden the other and then he's on the line, and the ref is waiting for him, and James was like, oh, man, come on.
Yeah, come on. Well, I can argue his free throws are more broken than Ben's are.
Right.
But Ben's got the demons.
Yes.
And the only way to get rid of them is through a sports psychologist. You could shoot 1,000, and you've made this point a million times. You could go to the gym right now and make 100 in a row, and it doesn't matter if somebody's going to hack a Ben you. Right. Because he's such a proud kid to me that the shame of it, they have singled you out to put you on the free throw line. Washington started it, and Atlanta finished it. Right. And the deeper we got into the Atlanta series, the worse it got, to where he was so ashamed that he said, well, I don't even deserve to have the basketball then. I'm not even going to do the dunk. You know,
Skip, even in the playoffs, the hacker Shaq was making 60% of them.
He would.
Skip, this dude is 33%.
And it started with Dwight, and Dwight would make maybe half of it.
Yes.
Yeah.
Even Skip, okay, give him 50%, they win the series. If he makes 50% of his free throws, they win the series.
Well, actually, against Atlanta in the fourth quarter, he was 9 of 20, so he was almost 50% in the fourth quarter. Right. Well, but as we got deeper in, it just didn't matter because he wouldn't even try anymore.
Right. And so now we're playing 5-on-4. We get an opportunity, the guys right there point blank. Dunk the ball. Skip, he's 6'11". Okay, dunk. Skip, that's Trae Young. Do you realize that's 5'11" Trae Young? You're supposed to dunk on his head. I've seen Ben Simmons dunk on bigger guys than Trae Young. You pass it up to Thibault for a cutting back to the basket, and you right there? Nah, Skip. But, Skip, I'm not saying cut the guy. I'm not saying put the guy down in the G League. I'm saying maybe if he goes to a different place, his mind, how do you go back, Skip? How do you go back in the locker room? What you think, Skip? You heard what Joel Embiid said. Skip, that's the thing. You got to be careful. Words spoken, deeds done. Because how do you unravel that? I believe the turning point in the ball game, we had a layup. We make one.
Okay, that's the guy who said that, who had 8 turnovers, including a late one, thanks to Gallinari, that ended the game.
Now, he's not without blame now because he had a couple of games where he had 8 turnovers.
Yep.
So he's not without blame, Skip, but he is.
And I'll give you this. They never seem to vibe off each other. It comes across that they coexist without actually liking each other. Like they seem to have no connection whatsoever.
Yeah, Skip, they ask him, Joel, you want to run it back? We'll have to see. Yeah, oh yeah, we want to run it back. We got a few tweaks here and there, But like I said, Skip, you're right. They don't mesh like Magic and Kareem, like Kobe and Shaq, like Duncan and Parker, like Kuzma and Russell, like Penny and Shaq.
Okay, I got it. But all that said, they still had the best record in the East. If you told me they missed the playoffs this year, I'd be completely all in. You got to get rid of it.
But Skip, that's the problem, is that they keep these going out. Since that run that they had against Toronto, Skip, where they lost the Game 7 on Kawhi's shot, Skip, they haven't come close back. I mean, you can't lose to Atlanta. You can't.
Okay, you always correct me about Joel. I'm his biggest fan. He's always hurt or sick, or sick or hurt, or hurt or sick.
Yes.
It's always something with him, so it's hard if you can't trust his health and you can't trust his psyche, then in the end, against a hot, young, upcoming Atlanta, they're just going to have a hard time holding him off, and they couldn't hold him off.
Yeah, and a lot of pressure on the 76ers to be able to turn this thing around. And you got to know that Ben Simmons has to want it and want to make the change in his head as well. It can't just be coming from Doc that they're ready to make the change.
Thank you for watching. You can subscribe here to get the latest from the show, and be sure to check out more of the best clips from Undisputed, or go watch a few other segments from our other shows on FS1.